As we delve into the world of missionary work, it's important to first understand some common misconceptions. Many of us associate missionaries with people of a different color bringing their beliefs to foreign lands. But what does it truly mean to be a missionary? At its core, missionary is someone who is sent to a place, often a foreign country, to teach their religion to the people who live there. However, the journey of a missionary is not an easy one. It is a call that often takes one through pain and difficulties until they are transformed into a product of God's work. This was certainly the case for Lysias Rangarira Moyo, whose tireless efforts in spreading the Adventist message throughout Zimbabwe make him a true missionary in every sense of the word. Join us as we explore the world of missionary work and the impact it can have on both the individuals who undertake it and the communities they serve. Lysias Rangarira Moyo's early life began here, in the bustling suburbs of Highfields. He wasn't always a pastor, but his journey would take him far from these streets. One day, Lysias received a letter that would change his life forever. It was an invitation to go to Ngundu, a small town located in Masvingo, to become a shop manager. The letter came with a great deal of trust, as Lysias was known to be a devout Adventist. His job at that time was to collect money in the stores, but he was about to embark on a new journey.
Asosasvika netransport yakuzokutora ndikaona mota yasvika Ngundi is further with Victoria yaiva mberi kweVitori ndikaona mota yasvika nadhiraivha ndiwe Lysias Rangarira here tauya kuzokutora toda manager kwaNgundu.
Lysias arrived in Ngundu and took on the role of shop manager. But as time passed, he received another letter, this time from Pastor O.D. Musa. It was an invitation to study theology at Solusi University in Bulawayo. Lysias wasn't sure he wanted to become a pastor, but God had other plans. Another letter arrived, this time from Pastor Dube, the president of the Matabeleland Adventist Church. Lysias was hesitant, but he went to show his current boss, Paul, the letter. At that moment, everything changed. Paul encouraged Lysias to take the pastoral call and go and study at Solusi University. And so, with a new purpose, Lysias and his family traveled to Bulawayo.
Basa rangu raiva rekukolekita mari muzvitoro zvichiuyisa kukumba ndokuwana kwava netsamba yakabva kuna O.D. Musa yekuti ndinokuda kuti uinde kuSolusi further education. Kana waenda kuSolusi uchanodzidza ikoko. Mangwana achibva yasvika imwe inobva kuna Dhuve wava president wekuMatabeleland. Tinokuda kuti uinde kuSolusi. Ini ndienda kuSolusi ini handidini zvokufundisisa. Ndokunotaridza Paul tsamba zvikanzi inofanira tose kuti iende nokuti ikasaenda bhizinesi rangu rinofa kwazvo. Mashaya ng'ombe gadzira nemhuka nezvinhu zvake zvese aende kuBulawayo. Kuzoti wasingabvumidziki ndari nefenicha sitaiva nefenicha ndokuti tira fenicha mudori muya tava muBulawayo tosvika muBulawayo muya further tava paSolusi. Welcome.
Talking about Pastor LN Moyo, I want to point out that to be granted a bursary to go and study for ministry generally required that somebody has a demonstrable and undeniable interest in the church, something that could be observed, that this person has a commitment to the church, has loyalty, and has a basic understanding of the way the church works. There's got to be a potential that this person can be a leader who will be able to lead the congregations and the people of God. And that must have been evident in Pastor LN Moyo's life for him to be chosen to be offered the scholarship.
I remember when I was very young, I'm not sure as to what my age was. Baba wakanga wayitraina ku Solusi University. It used to be Solusi College, I think.
Lysias began to study theology at Solusi University, and from that point on, his life would never be the same.
Lecture ready waiva Pansel, about South Africa. We were very good. I like him nanasi uno. I got it tisa. Makore tu. Ese timo titatipa Solusi waya. Sasa pesa makore mawili. Tapasa.
Lysias Rangarira Moyo was a young man who had just completed his pastoral studies at Solusi after 2 years of hard work. His first assignment was to work in the rural areas of Lotito in Mount Darwin, a place he had never been before. He left his parents and traveled with his wife and 2 kids to start a new chapter in his life. Lysias and his family settled into the school they were staying in, Kadowata, and stayed there for 3 years. The experience was completely new to them. They had to adapt quickly to the challenges of rural life.
Kure. Kwa Lotito. Tasika kuya. So nenda paka Dowata. Paka Dowata imbe yacho yaifinza. Tatika na mbura naya. Taisa umbrella. Mumba. Taisa umbrella. Kuna wale vana don't go to. Togara yetu takadero togara. Takagara makore maganizia mai. Matatu tiri paka Dowata. Zinayo nemvura.
I remember when Baba was had finished training, waka postwa to his first assignment kwankuri ku Mount Darwin. Takabva tiri inini, Baba na mai ne the sister who comes after me, anonzi Eunice. Baba wakapostwa kuchikoro chainzi Kadowata school. It was few kilometers beyond Tito. Go Kadowata school ikoko ndokwataka kurira. Kadowata school, what I recall was kwainaya zisingaiti. Kana yamvura yangu yakunaya kwainaya. Zvakadaro zvokuti at one stage Baba vakanza mufundisi imba yamurugara inonaya. Rega tinokuisai kuimba iri kuzasi uko inenge iri nani. Zvoshuwa ndobva tatamiswa kuimba yanga iri musoro ndokuiswa kuimba yanga iri kuzasi. Asa zvisinei haminoti vaipfurira dzimba dzavo sei. Kwaiti kana ukanaya tainaiwa. Pampato mama vaitoya neumbrella chaiyo kuti wanangu nemvura ikunaya usiku fugai chi umbrella.
As a pastor, Lysias faced many challenges in this new environment, but he did not give up. He worked tirelessly to build relationships with the local community and provide spiritual guidance to those who needed it most. Lysias' dedication and hard work paid off as he was able to establish a thriving church community in Lotito. His sermons were inspiring and resonated deeply with the local people. Despite the difficulties they faced, Lysias and his family grew to love the people and the land of Lotito. They became an integral part of the community, and their legacy still lives on today. Lysias Rangarira Moyo's journey to Lotito was a testament to his faith and his commitment. One day, Pastor Fusire called Lysias with some exciting news. Lysias packed his bags and prepared to leave Kadowata, but little did he know, his journey was far from over. Lysias arrived at Nyazura Station, near Nyazura Mission, where the offices of the department were located. But he soon realized that his new role required him to travel far and wide.
Kusikire ndiye akandidaidza indava kuruya kwakadowata. Ndiye akandidaidza kuti uya uzoita sawa school secretary. Ndaimboita sawa school secretary ndiri departmental secretary ndiri kuMount Darwin. Akazona kuti no mufundisi ari kure ndobva ndadaidziwa nasekretari wafusire aiva murungu. Ndadaidziwa nasekretari wafusire ndakanogara paNyazura paNyazura station, paka pasina accommodation paNyazura.
Takazobva kuMount Darwin, baba wava departmental secretary yainzi Mashonaland Field then kana sikanganisa. Department secretary vaimbopota vachiuya vachiita district pastor, asi vomboenda kwemavhiki vachinoita departmental secretary kuNyazura Mission. Zvakazonzi mufundisi taita call, chiuyai kuNyazura muite permanent departmental secretary weMashonaland Field. Asi zvinhu zvakaratidza kuti paNyazura Mission panga pasina dzimba dzakanzi chiripo dzokuti vafundisi vagare. Saka vakawanirwa imba painzi paNyazura Station. Nyazura Station was, I think, kana sikakanganisi yanga iri about 11 km from Nyazura Mission. Kwaiva nomwe offices awo.
Lysias Rangarira Moyo was a pastor in Nyazura when he received an unexpected request to move to Harare and take on the role of pastor there. At first, he was hesitant and expressed his concerns about lack of experience. He suggested that someone older and more seasoned should take the position instead. However, his colleagues were adamant that he was the best candidate for the job, as he had previously lived in Harare. With his family in tow, Lysias moved to Mufakose in Harare, where he was welcomed with open arms. Despite his initial reservations, he worked tirelessly to serve the people in his district and to encourage them to be good stewards.
Takagara ipapo tichiita basa zvakanaka. Dzoke pastor vatadza kupindirana navanhu mutaundi. Ndobva vauya Pastor Fusiri naVinglas anga ari secretary murungu. Anga ari secretary waFusiri Vinglas. Zvanzi pastor, hamungaendi here kuHarare? Ndikati kuHarare kunotyisa. Vadi kutumira munhu mukuru, ndaiva mufana mazuva iwawo. Vadi kutumira munhu mukuru aenda kunoita pastoral work kuHarare. Zvikanzi tinoda iwe uinde kuti wambogara muHarare. Ndikati kana mada kuti ndiinde kuHarare ndoda mota cycle. Zvimotikari zvaivako zviya zviHonda zviya ndizvo zvaivako. Ndakachipiwa ichocho brand new. Ndobva ndaenda kuMufakose navadzimai vanga. Kwaiva ndisvika ikoko vakandiita welcome zvakanaka chaizvo. Pastor Mauya, Pastor Mauya. Ndokutangidza basa. Ndaisararaba vakomana. Zvonyambo ndaisvika kumba na9, zvonyambo na10, zvonyambo na11. Ndiri muvanhu chete.
Tauya kuHarare. Baba vakashanda zvikuru. Chikutondera vakashanda zvikuru vachivhakachira mamembers edistrict yavo, ende district yavo yanga yakati kurei, yanga isingori Highfields chete. Vaibva kuHighfields kusvika kuMufakose, kusvika kuRugare, kusvika kwaMbuzuma, ndiwo anga ari mahigh density suburbs aigara vanhu vatema neMufakose yacho. Saka iwo machurches avo iyayo ndiwo akanga vachimapasta, yakanga iri district yavo. Kana sakanganzisi madistrict akanga akupaswa nevafundisi vechitema anga ari maviri muno muHarare.
His district at that time was vast, encompassing Highfields, Mufakose, Rugare, and Kamzuma, which was known as Harare West at that time.
Yababa yainzi Harare West, imwe yainzi Harare East. Harare East ndo yaibata vana, kana sakanganzi ndo yaibata vana Mabvuku, vana Tafara, vanani, kwanga kune umwe mufundisi. Nendangariro dzangu, mufundisi wandonyasoziva kuti ndiwo vaipasta Harare East ndi Pastor Munetsi. Pastor Munetsi ndo vaipasta Harare East, baba vachipasta Harare West. Baba nebasa ravakaita ndotondera, vakazotengerwa kaHonda 70 kubva vanenge vakatotengerwa nechurch, nekuti vaida kuvhakacha vachikolekta matithes. Vanga maitiro avo ekukolekta, ekuencourage mamembers kuti ape kuna Mwari zvegumi nezvipo.
Lysias' hard work and dedication did not go unnoticed, and his efforts were soon recognized by the higher officers. Despite his initial fears and reservations, Lysias found his calling as a pastor in Harare, where he had the opportunity to make a significant impact on the lives of those around him. Lysias Rangarira Moyo's pastoral work in Harare did not go unnoticed. He was soon awarded a ticket to fly to the Zambezi Union, an unexpected and unusual gesture that surprised him.
Buruga ndege tawakuisa ndege kunomara Mburuwa. Ko ndikuenda kuBuruwa kunodi? Zikanzi pastor, munozinzwa mapo. Zikanzi congratulations pastor. You are now the president of the Mashonaland field. Chitererai.
Upon arriving at the union's office in Bulawayo, he was appointed president of the Mashonaland mission field in 1983, which only increased his workload.
Ndokuwana pastation ndakamirwa navafusiri. Fusiri atobuda upresident. Ini koma ndidaidzirei? Zvimwe chaitwa president, izvo ndakandateitwa president. Fusira kuti zvimwe chaitwa president. Ende kuoffice. Ndomba taenda kuoffice kuti go. Zvikanzi come in zvikana. Nakari kneel down before you greet anyone. Ndomba tafugama ndokunamata, ndomba ndakaziva kuti ndaitwa president.
1983 independence yakaitika tiri ikoko. 1983 pastor ndakazonzwa kuti Pastor Moyo ndiye wapresident paconference mission field. I'm sorry.
Moyo began cultivating relationships with influential figures in government and used his newfound connections to establish several schools in the Mashonaland mission field. His passion for education was evident, as he often opened schools without prior committee approval, relying on his faith to provide for their upkeep.
Ndakadaizona chinyanga namakunde ndawana nzvimbo kunini vakaindependence. Hamungazaruri here chikoro panapa. Inobva ndasvikozarura. Chikoro ndakandisinga kana ndoita basa ndakasingavutanga ndaenda kusession kana kuti kukomiti. Ndaingozarura ndoga. Ndozoenda kukomiti kuti I have opened a school. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any oppose? Don't let it carry.
I saw as a youth growing up, that the pastor appeared to be high-handed. But if you followed only that aspect, you would be lost. In as much as at times he was high-handed, he was also loving and caring. He would come down to your level and you could actually have a good relationship with him.
Pastor Moyo had a passion for education. There are many schools that were opened during his time. Schools such as Mauya, schools such as Nyahuni. We call it Nyahuni today, but it was Makunde at that time.
He opened 12 primary and secondary schools. Some of the schools, like Mkwasi, was already there. Chikwariro was already there, but the secondary school component was started under Pastor Moyo. So the total number is 12.
Ndavane zvingani zvikoro 5 zvandazarura ndokunzi kumwe uyako kuna vamwe kwaiva kure kure ndikati akuhandichaendi izvozvo zvandazarura zvirizvo ndaenda kumishini ndinotaura kuti aifa open school zita racho ndinhingi all in favor say aye any oppose hapana more.
During the war, the conference offices were relocated to Harare with the hope of returning to Nyazura once the situation had stabilized. The conference started renting offices at the division offices in Harare. However, as time passed, it became clear that the conference could no longer stay at the division offices.
But division ipayandikita complications in mafoni kana tikafonerwa ne division avachaiwani zvikanzi no Moyo out neclue yako ibva pano unotikanganisa basa tenda kupi kanzi ndizvozvo unotikanganisa basa kutsvaka nobva tawana kuwaterfalls ndini ndakaiwana tawana kuwaterfalls kuya nobva taenda nomwe division tikati tanzwa kuti muri kutama kanzi of course yes we are looking for a buyer tisu manje munoita mari 40 something thousand dollars kutengesa mushana tikati tinoda.
Here comes Pastor Moyo. When the office was now in Nyazura, he started looking for land in Harare to move the office from Nyazura to Harare. And he met with opposition, but Pastor Moyo is a man who is able to move against the current. When he is convinced that this is right, he does not fear. He is very bold, he is very courageous.
Vaenda muoffice division ndokuzotenga pane East Zimbabwe conference.
So he got that plot in Waterfalls and got a loan from the division to start with, which he was able to pay back.
One interesting area, like as I have mentioned before, the East Zimbabwe field then was rural based. Most of the churches were in rural areas and a few churches were in urban areas. And it was his vision to have the office be relocated from Nyazura Mission to Harare, 4 Thorn Road, Waterfalls. And the church was to go to Greater Heights, just using a house which was in this plot. And there were all the offices were housed in this area: stewardship, ministerial, Sabbath school, youth, you mention it. All these departments were housed there. And the work to all the places in the field would take place in this place that was even more central.
That's when Pastor Lysias Rangarira Moyo stepped in and found a new location in Waterfalls, which the conference eventually purchased. Some criticized the move to Harare, as most churches were located in rural areas. But Pastor Rangarira's strong character and visionary leadership prevailed as he successfully acquired the land in Waterfalls to establish the new conference offices.